Today on the Profit Maximalist Show, I'm talking to the Dogecoin Millionaire about one of the wildest, most ridiculous, and so far successful trades I've ever seen in my life.
That I literally took everything out of my bank accounts, sold all my stocks. I maxed out 2 credit cards and took out cash advances and threw it all into Dogecoin at 0.045.
The cryptocurrency is now one of the biggest in the world.
You're up $1 million in the last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Tweeting a picture of a rocket to the moon with one word, Doge.
It started originally as a joke back in 2013, but it is the big winner in crypto this week.
For those of you that are unfamiliar with this story, he went all in on Dogecoin around 4 or 5 cents back in February of this year. And at its peak, that trade he put a little bit over 100K into was worth over $3 million. Now, obviously, prices have dropped a ton. Almost all of crypto is down 60 or 70%. And Doge didn't escape that. It's now sitting at 17 cents. So he's still up a massive amount. It's a big profit, and he's still holding all of his Dogecoin. I have a ton of questions, and I'm sure that you guys do too. But before you have any judgment, I do want you to watch the full episode. And I think 5 to 10 minutes in, you're going to realize pretty quick the most impressive part of this entire Dogecoin trade, this entire Dogecoin story, is that he was able to save up a massive amount of money that made him liquid enough to be able to make a bet like this. So whether or not you agree with his trade or you think he needs to sell, I always think it's helpful to get perspectives from different types of traders, different types of investors. His perspective and the perspective of millions of other traders is what makes the market. That's why some coins go up and some coins go down. It's our belief of what they should be worth. And it's a fascinating, wild story. I absolutely loved getting to talk to Pro the Doge. And if you guys enjoyed this episode or you learned anything at all, or you're a fan of Dogecoin, hit the like button right down below and subscribe. Episodes coming out all week. I'm going to keep pumping these out. Even if the prices are down, there's always more investors, analysts, traders, VCs that I can talk to and see how they're turning a profit. And that's the whole point of this show, the Profit Maximalist podcast. Hope you guys enjoy this one, and I will see you on the next episode.
There's only one way out from here, and that's up.
Pro, I've hit the big red button, man.
What's going on? I'm good, man. I'm chilling. I'm out here with the family. You know what I'm saying? Having a good old time, just hanging out, working on a few things, you know.
You were all over this weekend, man. You said you were in Vegas. I know you're usually out in LA. You're back with the fam right now. Are you flying private? You living that life now with the $1 million portfolio?
Not quite at that level yet. Shout out to Meet Kevin, man. He's just on the plane, so I'm not on his level yet. But yeah, man, flying around. I went to Vegas for a video to do a collaboration video with Andre Jit. Shout out to him. I went back to Vegas, did another video with Macy. That's Graham's girlfriend, Graham Stephan. Hung out with them for a little bit. And then went back to LA, and then I flew out to Maryland to come spend time with the family. You know, my brother's birthday just came up. Little bro the Doge, that's what he likes to call himself. And 4th of July weekend. And then this week I'm gearing up for a documentary. So I have a few documentaries that I'm taking part in. This week we're shooting 2 days in a row. You know, with the first documentary team, and then I'll be here for the following week, and then I have a third documentary coming in to do an interview as well. So before I go back to LA, so I'm just here for the docs right now.
That's crazy. You're like the amount of inbound you're probably getting. Business Insider, Forbes, New York Times, 3 documentaries, one maybe going to Netflix. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't never have pictured this, man. Like never in a million years would I have guessed things would have gotten to this point or to this level. You know what I mean? Because when I first went into Dogecoin, I literally was like, hey, let me try to make some money with this, right? And then I went from that to now it's a whole nother ball game, and I'm just kind of taking it as it comes, you know what I mean? And kind of rolling with the punches.
What I find so fascinating about this, and what you don't get enough credit for, is the ability to save up and have liquidity for this play. Like right now, the market's down 60%, cryptos, coins, everything you look at. Anyone that has cash on the sidelines right now has a chance to, if we go back to highs, even if we don't go back to highs, being able to buy things at down 70% is huge. When you see an opportunity like you saw in Doge, having money is huge. If you're not liquid, you can't seize the opportunity. How did you set yourself up to win? Because I think this is the bigger story than your $1 million trade. This is the win. The win came before you won on Doge, and it's saving up. How does you had a job, you said you're making $60K. How the hell did you save up enough of a bankroll to take a bet, $180K?
Well, that was, so people don't know this either, but my very first year at a regular corporate job with a salary was in 2018. I made 36K in 2018, right? Working for a hip hop media company, right? At the end of 2018, I did so well that I went from entry-level videographer or video editor to running the video department. So the next year in 2019, I went from 36K a year to 45K a year, right? That was the first time in 2018 that I was able to save up a few $1,000s. Like, I'm coming from zero, right? So 2019, I start buying in a Tesla, right? And this is around the time where Tesla's dropping in price, right? It was at the highs of 300s, and then it went down to 200, 250, 240, 230. And everybody on the TV that I'm watching, all the experts are telling me Tesla's going to zero.
Oh yeah, I remember.
In electric cars. Do you remember that? Yeah, like there's more interest. It's going
bankrupt
to
and everything.
And yeah, and in my gut, I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I see the future where there's electric cars everywhere. Like all these gas cars out here, like Toyota, Honda, they're successful companies. Why the hell are they creating their own versions of electric cars if this isn't the future? That's just dumb, right? So I was buying in a Tesla, and I didn't know it at the time, but I was going all in on Tesla. So every single little bit of money that I had, I'm pouring it in the Tesla. And every single month, I might get an extra $500, $1,000, whatever. So I'm working 2019, I started investing in a Tesla. I killed it in 2019 at work. And so I go from 45K a year to 60K a year in 2020. Mm-hmm. So 2020, last year, was the very first year that I made 60K. People also look at those numbers and are like, how the hell did you save up 130K
right.
with those numbers? So that was my main full-time job. I also did every gig I could find. So I'm working nights, I'm working weekends, I'm doing red carpet events, I'm shooting recaps to events, I'm editing videos for YouTubers. Every little gig that I can find, I'm doing it. So that's just adding to the pot, right? And I'm saving in every single month. I'm saving more money, saving more money, saving more money. All that's going into stock. Every dollar that I make is going into stock outside of buying food, gas, and bills, right? Everything's going into stocks. So by the end of 2020, we all saw Tesla skyrocket. I made a ton of money on Tesla, right? So by the time 2021 rolled around in January, Tesla was at an all-time high at like $890, something crazy, right? And so my $130,000 to $250. So I had $250,000 in the bank. And I was still living the same way. Nothing changed. Same car, same apartment, little studio apartment. Didn't change anything, right? And so when I did the move to sell out of all of my stocks and buy Dogecoin, that was something that I had to think about for a little bit of time. It took me a week and a half until I made that move. And every single day, I'm trying to think of reasons not to. I'm like, why should I not do this? Like, what about this? What about that? I'm looking into things. So it took me a whole week to make that move into Dogecoin. And you got to think about it. These are stocks that work for me, right? Tesla worked for me. Uber worked for me. All these things I was up on a lot. Yeah. So for me to believe in Dogecoin took a lot of research and a lot of convincing and a lot of understanding what I feel like the upside is. And this is the first time I ever look into crypto in the first place. You know what I mean? The first crypto I ever owned. So I'm just like, I just had to make that decision. I knew it was time sensitive because I'm like, at any moment, that penny to 8-cent rise that I saw and witnessed with my $40 is going to happen again. This time it's going to go from 2 cents to 15 or 4 cents to 20 cents. Like I didn't know when, I just knew it was going to happen again. That's going to be a second rise there. And I knew that I had to be all in, and it was time sensitive. It could happen at any moment. So it took me a week to come to my decision to be like, you know what? I got to sell out of everything, and Dogecoin is the way.
Dude, I love that chapter in the story just because everyone focuses on the Dogecoin win, but it doesn't matter if the person listening to this or watching this, or you're always going to have an audience now of people that are like-minded, looking at coins, trying to build a business. But what I think is exciting is you did it the right way. You're going to show them and be able to teach them the way too of, look, I worked a regular job. I saved up enough. I invested in some stocks. I lived frugally, and then I was liquid enough to take my shot. And I think that regardless of the person watching or listening or your audience that's going to try to do that, the thing that makes them win is getting liquid and having money saved up. It's not that they're going to find another Dogecoin. Like maybe some guy will. If he does, I hope he hits me up. We can do a show on it. But even if he doesn't, I just hope he saves up some cash and he gets to live a better life, or he has that chance to take his shot. So I had to get that on there, man. Massive respect.
Honestly, it was like, to me, it was like the perfect storm, right? see, you don't know this either. I wanted to buy a house the year before. So I wanted to buy a house for all my artists to come and live there for free and work on their music and not have to worry about rent or food, right? That was my job. I was gonna buy a house, make sure everybody was good, right? I could not buy a house to save my life. Like, I'm going to realtor to realtor to realtor.
They're saying
I can't
no?
get mortgage loans. What?
They're saying no to you?
Yeah, they're all saying no. I can't get a mortgage loan for anything, right? And then they're telling me the only way you can buy a house is if you put 20% down of a house. And at that time, you remember I had like 130, something like that, right? So like I couldn't even put down 20% of a house that I wanted to find with 3-4 bedrooms in LA or Long Beach. They were like $500,000 and up. So I physically could not take my money out to buy the house because nobody would take.
Thankfully, though. Thankfully, you didn't.
So exactly. So in retrospect, everything worked out for a reason. I feel like it's a bigger thing here, you know what I mean, than we even realize. Like,
I think just living frugal, like you were buying a house for the right reason. I think one thing that hurts a lot of people, and this is fun, I know this because I did it. When you bought Tesla in 2019, I guess 2018 is when I bought my Tesla. So 2018, I do well with some coins. I go out there, I want a car. I'm like, all right, I got some money now. I've always wanted this car. It's my dream car. I don't care if anyone sees me driving it. I just fucking love this car. I want to drive it. It makes me happy. I love cars. And so I go out there, build a brand new Model Tesla S. If I would have put that money into Tesla, I don't even want to talk about how big that number would be, right? That would have been the biggest win of my life at that point, right? That trade, oh my God.
Right.
So it's like, but you know, you kind of like almost lucked into that. Even, you know, if you would have got a house, it would have set you back a little bit. But it's that idea of not buying an asset that's going to help you out in the long run and setting yourself up for the win, I think is the bigger story than even your Doge trade. But when you made that, was it more of, I want extra money on the side? Like, was there even a hint of a thought that this could become my full-time job? Because I think you actually just quit your job. But up until now, you've still been working it. Like when you made that investment, this was probably, I want some play money, you know, let me grow the portfolio, but I'm going to keep my job. This was probably never in your imagination.
Well, it wasn't play money. Like let's square that away. It wasn't play money. This was my life's savings. You know what I mean? So like everything that I ever had made went into this investment, and it was a play where I was like, okay, I have to go into this with a mindset and a plan, right? So I'm gonna invest all of this money into Dogecoin. I know that I will become a millionaire at some point. It could take 6 months. It could take a year. It could take 2 years. I'm willing to hold. You know what I mean? And so I also decided, you know what? I'm going to keep my job because I don't even want to think about this money. This is the money that's invested. Pretend like it's in a savings account. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to take anything out. You know what I mean? And I'm going to continue to work a job so I can still pay my bills, still, you know what I mean, pay for food, rent, all the good stuff. And then when it happens, you know what I mean? But I knew this was going to happen. Like the very next day, like the day after I invested all my money into it, the very next day, I went to www.thedogecoinmillionaire.com. I bought the domain. Then I went into social media. I took all the handles for the Dogecoin Millionaire and Pro to Doge. And then I went to Gmail, got the Gmail, you know, the Dogecoin Millionaire at gmail.com, the YouTube channel. I also created a video the very next day announcing of what I did. You know what I mean? I was like, hey guys, I just bought 5 million Dogecoins and these are the 5 reasons why, you know, and I plan on becoming a millionaire holding Dogecoin, like buying and holding Dogecoin. And so the only thing that caught me by surprise was how quickly it happened. You know what I mean? The fact that it happened in 69 days, which is also, you know, a mean number. Like everything just, I don't even know how to explain it, man. It's just like, it's almost like Dogecoin exceeded my own personal expectations of it. And so I'm probably the most bullish person you will ever meet when it comes to Dogecoin. So if it exceeded my own expectations,
right,
how much bigger is this than I really think it is? You know what I mean? And that's just another reason why I'm holding on.
So you're still holding. It's still open. There's no questions.
Most definitely. Still diamond handing it, you know, still hodling, full throttle. Like, yeah, nothing's changed.
What's it at right now? What's the value, right? Do you just have that number in your head? You got to have that number in your head.
No, right now it's hovering around 1 million. So it'll
Okay.
dip a little bit below, it'll go a little bit above, you know what I mean? Because Dogecoin is like 24 cents, 25 cents. Like it'll dip to 23 cents, a little bit higher, you know what I mean? So I'm right there at that $1 million mark, which is still 100 times better than I would be with my money in the stock market and what I've done so
Sure.
far in the stock market. You know what I mean? This exceeds all that, even at levels that it is now.
Are you feeling the swings every day? Like for me, you know, I was up late last night. DeFi started moving. I do this for a living. So when the market's up, it feels great. I joke around sometimes. I'm like, I think food tastes better when coins are up. Like I just do it. Lunch is better. The weather's better. Everything's better. And when shit's down, it's a little tough, man. Like, are you feeling the swings? Like when we're down at 20 cents or when we were up at 60, like, do you feel that?
Yeah. I mean, it was up all the way to, I think, 75 cents at its all-time
Some exchange.
high.
Yep.
So, I mean, I feel it a little bit here and there. Like, it's mostly from the feedback I get on the internet. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Right.
like, trust me, people will let me know. People will let me know when Dogecoin drop. They're not going to go the day without letting me know. So I'm on my Instagram, you know, at Pro the Doge. I'm on my Twitter, you know, Pro the Doge. People are just there like, hey, where you at now, bro? Like, oh, you're not alone. You're no longer a millionaire. Oh, you dropped under $1 million. What? You're a dummy. You're an idiot. You know what I mean? So like, I have a lot of that, and then I have a lot of people that are like diamond handed with me, and they're like, don't worry, bro. It's all good. It'll go back up. I'm holding on too. You know what I mean? Like, we're straight. We're fine. You know, just keep hodling. And so I get it from both sides. But there's definitely times when I think about it and I'm like, dang, like that's crazy that it's, you know, down to where it is now. But I don't know. I feel like it's going to eventually go up regardless. Like, I feel like at this point, $1 for Dogecoin is inevitable. It's going to happen, you know, whether it's in the next 6 months or next year. So I'm not really worried. I feel like I've decided to come into this game like with long term in mind, you know, with the long haul in mind. And I'm holding on, you know what I mean, for the until I reach, like I said, and I've said in my interviews before, I'm holding on until I either hit a year of holding, and once I hit a year, that'll turn my short-term capital gains tax, the long-term capital gains tax, and I only have to pay 15%. And because I have things that I want to do. If I didn't have ambitions, if I didn't have goals and plans in life to create companies and businesses, then I wouldn't care. I'd probably just, you know, keep hodling until I absolutely need for something, or I want to buy a house or a car or something like that. But I have plans in mind and goals. So like I've set kind of boundaries for myself where I said, okay, in a year from when I bought it, I'll cash out a percentage of it just to get my companies and my businesses started, and everything else will remain in there. Or if, you know, something crazy happens and Dogecoin goes to like $2.50 and I hit $10 million, then I'll take out 10%. I'll be cool with $1 million. Whatever happens, like if it drops all the way down, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like we saw what happened with Bitcoin. Like these things come and go, and the volatility is there and the fluctuations are there, but ultimately they go up.
All right, I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about where you think this goes, all that. But I think the way to set this up is, what were you doing the day before? Because when I tweeted out, I said, you know, what should I ask this guy? He's coming on. As you said, you hear it when price goes down. You hear the negative of, man, he got lucky. It's this, it's that. He's an idiot. And it kind of cracks me up. It's like, even if you think that, how can you not get behind the story? But that's just not the way I've ever thought of it. Like you saved up all this money. Clearly there was some intuition of, this is the right play. Like, it's not like, you know, you could have picked another coin. There was some element of variance, some element of luck there and timing. But I think that there was more of a master plan, more of a stroke of genius to it. Maybe there wasn't, but I think there was. Can you take us back to the day before you bought Doge? Do you know what you were doing the day before? Can you even remember that far back, man? Crypto slows down time. It probably feels like forever ago.
I mean, okay, people don't know this either, but the first play I made wasn't my whole life savings in a Dogecoin. I didn't wake up one day and do that. Like, my first investment ever into Dogecoin was at the end of January 27th, at, I believe, 10 o'clock p.m. I put in $40, just to see what it would do. Just because it piqued my interest, it sparked my interest. I was on the Reddit groups, you know what I mean? I was looking at Wall Street Bets. Somebody mentioned Dogecoin. Oh, that's interesting. What is this? Let me look it up. Oh, I could buy it on Robinhood. That's cool. I got $40 buying power. Put $40 into it. See what happens. It was at a penny at this time. The very next day, it shoots from a penny to 8 cents. So I'm watching $40 turn into 60, turn into 100, 150, 200, 250, over $300. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I've never seen anything like this in the stock market. This is insane. This is going to happen again at some point, and the next time it does, I'm going to be all the way in. So that's what happened. And as soon as I saw it hit the 8 cents mark, I was like, I need to do as much research as possible on this coin. Where is it from? When did it start? Who created it? I'm going back in time to 2013. I'm realizing, oh, this coin has been out for a minute and it's still surviving. It survived all of the crazy, crypto cycles, and it's still here. It's still strong. It's got a community behind it, right? There's a backbone there. There are people that have stuck around for years believing in Dogecoin. So this isn't like a fly-by-night coin that just came out 2 months ago. You know what I mean? And so the fact that it proved longevity, the fact that it proved lasting power, I'm like, okay, let me look at the graphs. I got graphs to look at, right? So 2013, 2014, 2015, I'm going over the years and I'm seeing, okay, this goes up and down, but every year, you know what I mean? Like it's a little bit higher. Like the trend is going up. So when I tell you, when I went all in, I was expecting to wait 6 months, a year, 2 years. I'm going into it knowing that based on the last 8 years, this is what happens over time. Even if it takes, some more years for it to happen even higher, it's going to happen and I'm going to be there. So these are just like analytical, like just me looking through all the graphs and stuff and numbers and the details on that. And then what did I think about the future, right? Then I look at it like, okay, what do I think the future holds here when it comes to crypto? Okay, so I believe that cryptocurrency is the future. All right, we settled that. It's the future. Okay, so what coins are going to be the main factors and are going to be the top 5 coins that I see in the future? I'm looking at Bitcoin. I'm looking at Ethereum. I'm looking at Cardano. You know what I mean? Like these are coins that I believe are going to hold weight in the future. And I'm looking at Dogecoin. And when I look at Dogecoin, I see a coin that is unconventional. I see a coin that goes against what is typically looked at in the crypto space, right? We look at Bitcoin, we look at Ethereum, we look at these coins that are like changing the world, you know what I mean? And especially with Ethereum, like with the blockchain and the technology behind it. And Dogecoin doesn't have that, but what it does have, and none of the other coins have, is the branding behind it, is the marketability of it, is the fact that it's inviting you in. It's a very friendly coin. It's a fun crypto. It's coins that if you don't know much about crypto and about the space and you want to get into it, that's probably the first one because it's cheaper than everything else. You know what I mean? You can buy a whole bunch just to play around with it. Like Dogecoin is the only coin out of all of them that has that branding power, that has that marketability behind it, and it has recognition, right? You look at it, you're like, oh, that's Doge. Oh, that's funny. Oh, okay, I can get behind this. And for that, you know what I mean? That's a big factor in people investing in Dogecoin and why they want to get it. And then also, obviously, the last factor for me, it was looking at the graphs. It was my bullish thesis on it and seeing what the future holds and believing that memes are the language of the millennials. And then the third thing was Elon Musk supporting the coin. So I'm looking at it like, okay, the richest man in the world comes in full support behind this cryptocurrency specifically. Why would I not pay attention to that? You know what I mean? Like, why would I not take that into consideration and say, if this guy's behind it, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that it's successful. You know what I mean? Like, it just made sense.
It's so wild, man. Like what's happening out there in the world, things that you can't even control, like Elon Musk getting involved with Dogecoin, things like meme stocks just taking off, like Populous Finance rising, AMC, GameStop, all that shit happening that you can't control. That kind of obviously leading to you wanting to be a part of Doge. You see that meme stocks are taking off. You say, okay, might be something more here. What if that kind of community, goes to Doge? It's wild. Like when I got into crypto, and it's cool to hear you compare that, why you chose Doge versus Bitcoin or ETH or something else. Some people might say, well, that's insane. Why wouldn't you choose Bitcoin? I remember when 2017, when I first got in, it was just some random ass article I saw about it wasn't profitable to mine Bitcoin, but the individual could mine Ethereum. And so I was like, all right, I understand Bitcoin a little bit. I've heard people talk about it, but I can't mine that. Maybe I can make some money here. And then ETH happens, then ICOs happen, and then I started investing in tons of other projects that are trying to scale ETH. But it's funny, like, I couldn't control that. Like, I couldn't control that you couldn't mine Bitcoin anymore. It was just the time that I learned about it. And that led to me choosing ETH based on, all right, I think this is my avenue. So when you do this, when you go into Doge, did you have like a stop in mind? Like did you have some level where you're like, if this doesn't go up, should I move to Bitcoin? Like was there a level where you're like, man, this could go bad, I got to pull out? Or was it all in? All in?
It was really all in. And like you said, understanding the trends and understanding, okay, we're in like this meme economy thing. Now we realize that, right? When we first saw GameStop, we were like, oh, that's funny. Everybody's buying GameStop. We understand the reasons why. But we didn't think it'd take off the way it did, right? So we're looking at GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, Bed Bath & Beyond. So there was a bunch of them, right? Nokia, I think. I don't know. There was like 10 or 20 meme stocks, right? That everybody was buying just to buy, just because, right? So a lot of people don't know this either, but I hopped on the train. I bought GameStop. You know what I mean? Like I bought GameStop when it was over $300. I put in $20,000 in the GameStop. You know, the very next day, Robinhood disables the buy button and it drops from 20K to 10. I lost $10,000 in a single day, but I understood that this was the wave. This was the move. What was that?
You got hit on that when Robinhood pulled the plug?
Because I bought into it the day before Robinhood disabled the
oh my
buy
God.
button.
Oh
I bought it like the very day before. So it was like $310 a share or $320. Here's the crazy part, right? So like I said, I put in 20K. The very next day before the market opened, I want to say maybe a half hour before, something like that, I'm looking at the price on GameStop. It's through the roof, bro. It went to like $400, almost $500. I'm like, yo, this is it. Like this is going to 1,000. You know what I mean? The market opens and the buy button's disabled and that shit crashes. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I know that we did the right thing. I believe in the people and I believe in the movement behind this. We were cheated though. I look at Robinhood like they cheated. Like we were playing a video game and they pulled the plug on our controller because we were winning. You see what I'm saying? So I look at that and I'm like, all right, what we did wasn't wrong. So what I have to look at is the fact that I believe I went into GameStop late, right? I was late to this. Okay, so what's the next one? Because something else is happening. Is it AMC? Is it, you know what I mean? Is it this? Is it that? So I'm looking, and as I'm researching on Reddit, that's when I come across Dogecoin. And I'm like, this is the next one. And I'm going to get in on it before, you know what I mean? It gets crazy.
What I'm curious of, because people have this idea of getting into crypto, and you either look at Bitcoin because you think it's going to be around for a while. That's kind of my thesis. I think Bitcoin has the best chance of surviving for the longest amount of time. I think that's, you might even think that, like Bitcoin probably has a higher chance of surviving than Doge. When you compared those two though, like, were you thinking, I'm going to go into Doge because there's a chance of more upside here, and that's just where meme investing is going? Or was there even a thought of, should I put this into Bitcoin?
That played a huge role. No, that played a huge role. I'm looking at it like I'm late to Bitcoin, man.
Okay.
Like I wish somebody had like tapped me on the shoulder when I was back in college and been like, hey bro, there's this thing called Bitcoin. You should buy into it. And then, I would have been invested in it. I'm the type of person where I love new innovative things. I love, looking towards the future at technologies and things that are changing the world. I would have totally bought some Bitcoin. Would I have sold it? Maybe. You know what I mean? Like I obviously back then you don't understand, how everything works. But looking at it, I'm like, okay, I'm late as hell to Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like I remember it was $10,000 or whatever, and then it shoots up. And I'm like, all right, if Bitcoin goes to 100,000, the best thing that can happen to me is I triple my money, right? When it was around 30K, right? I triple my money. That's great. That's better than the stock market. You know what I mean? But what's the second best thing? Then I see Ethereum, and I'm like, all right, Ethereum's good. But I'm like, damn, it's already went so much higher than like what it was a few years ago. Like I might have missed the boat on that too. You know what I mean? And then I look at Dogecoin and I'm like, all right, this seems like it would have the biggest upside, right? When you compare it to the top 5, other cryptos on the marketplace, like Doge seems like it would have the most upside. Obviously, it's a little riskier too. You know what I mean? So you kind of take the good with the bad. It's like, all right, this is a little risky, but the chances of it going up is a lot higher, I think, based on what all the research that I did. And 2, when it does go up, it's gonna go up tremendously. Like this isn't gonna be a 2, 3, 4, 5x kind of thing. Like this is a 10+ xer. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it like, even if I gotta wait a while, I'm gonna wait. What else am I gonna do with the money? I'm gonna keep it in the bank account. I'm gonna keep it in the stock market. Like, I did pretty good in the stock market, but I feel like this I would do even better. You know what I mean? Just based on looking at the graphs and seeing what the upside was.
There's a funny thing in crypto. It's unit bias. So like cheap coins historically, this has played out a ton of alt seasons. There was in 2018 it played out like Tron, and a lot of altcoins actually repriced. So like if they were priced at $100 or $50, they would split into more coins. They would change the supply, and if you had one coin, they'd give you 2 or 5 coins, whatever it is. They'd airdrop it to you just so their coin was cheaper. Because I think that's the mentality of a ton of people. When they get in, if they see a coin that's a penny, like Doge was, or 4 pennies, they say, all right, the upside here, this thing could go to 10 cents. This thing could go to 25 cents versus if you look at ETH, you look at Bitcoin, you're like, I don't know, man. Like, could ETH really go to 10K? That seems expensive. But like in reality, you got to be looking at the market cap. Like, so Doge is at what? Doge at $29 billion market cap. How do you come up with a target? How do you come up with a target for this now? It's a meme in a lot of ways. I think Doge is a meme. That's what I would call it today.
Yeah.
Should a meme be worth $29 billion? And like, how do you value a meme? I guess is the question.
Well, how prevalent are memes in our society? Like, how many times do you see a meme and share it? Like, look at it individually. Look at it yourself. Like when you come across memes online, do you share them? When you come across memes online, do you laugh? Do you screenshot it? You know what I'm saying? Do you send, like, just think about like how we live our lives on a daily basis, right? Memes is a huge part of our lives, and there's never been monetary value attached to them, right? So this is the first time I really believe that we have a meme, and now we're pairing it with money. So the same thing that we're used to sharing and trading with each other for absolutely free, because nobody knows who makes them. They're just floating around the internet, and they're incredible entertainment, right? Now we're able to associate it with money. So I feel like in the future, instead of us paying things with cash dollars and cash money, we're going to be buying and selling things with memes. The same way we, trade them today for free, we're going to be buying and selling them in the future. So I feel like memes is going to play a huge role in the future, of currency and the way that we buy and trade things.
So in the future, it would be Doge. I mean, Doge is probably already the most valuable meme in the world at 30 billion. Like because most other memes just don't have a value attached. They're free, as you said. So 30 billion.
Exactly.
Could a meme be worth $1 trillion? Like, I guess what's the upside
what did Doge
now?
sell for? What did the meme sell for, right? In the NFT market, like one of the most expensive NFTs, I think, sold to this day, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably. I don't doubt that. I'm just curious, like, I mean, it's still subjective. You look at Bitcoin, you can say, all right, you can come up with valuations and say gold's worth X amount. There's going to be a lot of people that want to store their wealth. Bitcoin probably does a better job of that than gold. So you can come up with a target that way. A lot of DeFi, which is what I find exciting. You have these protocols earning revenue. So you can say, okay, that protocol earns $10 million a month. You can come up with a way to value that, just like a business. It's a little bit different, but it makes sense. With Doge, it's just tough. Like, you got to kind of think, I guess, in probabilities. Is there a chance this becomes $1 trillion meme? I guess there is a chance. What's the chance, though, that this round trips and goes back to zero? If you had to, or not to zero, but like let's say back to the norm, right? Like back to like the 5 cents, 4 cents. If you had to assign a probability, I'm curious how you think through that.
5 cents was not considered a norm. 5 cents was not considered a norm for Dogecoin ever. like the norm for Dogecoin was under a penny. So the fact that you're even saying back to the norm at 5 cents speaks volumes, right? Because you think now it should be worth 5 cents. You see what I'm saying?
I just haven't pulled up a chart. I guess you're right. I guess it was under a penny. The funny thing is, like, I've always looked at Doge in Bitcoin terms because, like, Doge, I guess, had gone up every year. But the funny thing is, like, it was only kind of going up because Bitcoin's dollar value went up. Like, if you go to Doge Bitcoin for what, 3 years? So since 2017, it was always in between 20 sats or 100 sats, right? It'd go up to 100 sats, it'd go back down to 20 sats, up to 100 sats. This was the year we broke above 100 sats, and it hasn't looked back. Now we're at 682 sats. So it's outperforming Bitcoin in that regard. But like, what if you had to assign a probability? I'm not here to convince you to sell. It kind of bothers me when you've been on some interviews and they're like, "Man, you got to sell this." I'm like, "Come on, I'm not here to give you any advice, man. You're out here making these moves." I am curious though how you assign a probability to, like, what is the chances that this falls back in line? Maybe it's a 5 cents, maybe it's a 1 cent, back in line kind of with just performing as well as Bitcoin, which is the best performing asset in the world, right? Like, Doge is outperforming that. We've already done pretty well.
Yeah, it is. It is like right now, Bitcoin is about what it was in January, right?
Right.
So if you look at it in comparison to the other cryptos, Dogecoin is holding the hell out of its value.
It has
you know what I
been,
mean?
yeah.
It's still like 20x, like what it was at the beginning of the year. So it's outperforming Bitcoin, it's outperforming Ethereum. You know what I mean? Like that should, I feel like that should tell people, like, you know what? Like maybe there's more into this than we're even seeing from the outside in. You know what I mean? Like maybe the value behind a meme or the value in meme culture is a lot bigger and moving at a faster rate than everything else. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. Can you even sell if you want? I guess kind of how I'm thinking about this in the 50% downturn or 60% downturn. So Bitcoin and crypto and everything's up massive in the last 12 months. We also just went through a period, and I've seen a lot of cycles, but this most recent downturn was insane how fast it went. I think it was probably sped up because more people have access to derivatives, more people are trading on Robinhood, and there's just millions more people that are trying to play the meme, trying to play Bitcoin, all these things. So 60% decline happens. Now we're in a weird spot where crypto's still up huge. At the same time, we're down 60% or something. So I'm trying to think right now, like what kind of buyer is still here? I was talking to a group of traders about this on Monday. What kind of buyer is still in the market and what are they going to buy? There's probably a ton of individuals in retail that got burned, and they're not as bad as it is. What brings people to crypto is the chance of making more money, right? Like number go up. Yeah. So there's probably less people coming in today than there was at the beginning of the year because number isn't going up. Plus a lot of retail got burned. So I'm trying to think like, what kind of buyer is in the market right now and what are they looking at? They're probably VCs, probably funds that are raising, and they're looking to deploy into things like DeFi and Bitcoin. Does it concern you a little bit that like the run might have happened? Or like where do you think that, no, meme stocks.
Do you really think that though? Do you really think that was it? That was the bull run?
I don't know. I don't think that was the bull run law. I don't think that was the bull run law. What I'm kind of getting at though, I'm personally trying to assign a probability. I guess it's not even a question just for you. Like I'm trying to think through it. I'm curious how everyone else thinks through it.
What do you think?
I'm saying like, what's the probability that Doge continues to outperform Bitcoin like this? And I'm not saying that it goes to zero. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying.
Okay, so I've said this before, right? So I've been in different interviews and people have asked me, what if it goes back to zero? What if it goes back to 5 cents? What if it goes back?
I don't think it's going to go to zero. I'm just saying the outperformance. Yeah.
But you know, that's just one of the questions that I always get. So, and I've said this in the very first, if you go back to my very first video with Andre Jick on YouTube, he asked me that question. And I told him, I was like, the lowest that I see Dogecoin going is 15 cents. That's what I told him. And at that time, it was at like maybe 40 or something, you know, something crazy. It was already going up. Like I had almost doubled, like I was around $1 million at that point, and then like 5 days later, I doubled that and I'm at 2.5 million. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I said that even before that. So the reason why I think that is so if you look at history, right, and you look at Bitcoin, I think the lowest that it's gone off a bull run is about 85%, if I'm not mistaken, right? Down, right? If you look at Dogecoin's all-time high, that's 75 cents, right? So if we compare the same type of like ratio to Dogecoin and a downturn of like 85%, that's about 15 cents, give or take. You know what I mean? So I'm looking at it like, okay, even if it drops down to like the bottom of it, it's going to be 15 cents. And since I said that, it's dropped down to 15 twice, but bounced right back. So like one of the times, it was before it hit 75 cents. It was about 30, 40, 50 cents, I think. And then it dropped down like a mist, like a plane out the sky. Like it went all the way down. A lot of people got super scared.
It was crazy.
It dropped down to 15 cents. It touched 15 and bounced right back to 30 cents. Like it was nothing. You know what I mean? So that happened once, and I was down to like the lowest that I've ever been. I was down to like 500K, I believe, or something like that. So I saw myself go from 2 million to 500K, like nothing, right? And then it bounces back to 30 cents, and then it goes on the crazy run all the way to 75 cents, and then it drops all the way back down. And I think most recently, about a week or two ago, it dropped down to 16 cents and bounced right back to 23, 24, 25. You know what I mean? So as you know, so far I'm right. It's not dropping past 15 because it's so. I feel like it's so much. I don't know. The resistance is so strong at 15 cents that like I said, the first time I hit it, it bounced back to 30 cents. This last time it bounced back to 25 cents. So like I just don't see it going under 15 cents.
Yeah, there's been alts. I mean, there have been alts that go like down. The only scary thing with alts, I'm saying this from experience because I remember my first 6-figure trade in 2018. There was an alt where I was like, all right, this thing could go down, 75% or something like that. I think the worst bear market for alts was after that 2017, 2018 run. Alts went nuts after Bitcoin hit 20K. But what happened was alts went down like 80% versus Bitcoin, but Bitcoin also was down like 80%. So they were just at the floor. Now some came back. I guess that one of the things really helping Doge, though, that's, it's kind of insane how much support it's gotten from Elon, is Elon Musk himself, the richest man in the world. Not only that, I think the real influence and power of Elon is culturally, like what he says becomes a meme. What he says is always going to have backing. How important do you think it is that Elon continues to talk about Doge? Because lately he's done a little bit less talking about it, but he's still talking about it. Do you think you need Elon to keep getting bigger?
Here's the crazy part. Doge got to where it is in 2021, right? So if we look at the history on Doge, right, 2013 all the way to 2021, without Elon tweets, right? So it got up to about a penny without Elon tweets. So the fact that, Elon would tweet here and there, but like not go crazy support like he is,
today,
now. Like I said, one of the reasons I went all in was because of his tweets, but it was specifically a day, February 4th, when he went on a rampage.
Oh, yeah.
My man went on a Twitter rampage talking about no highs, no lows, only Doge. Doge is the future of cryptocurrency. Doge is for the people. You don't have to be a Giga Chat to own Doge. You know what I mean? Like he's like going like tweets, like not only he's got the meme of him holding up the
it's nonstop
on it. He's got the rocket ship Doge. So I'm like, all right, all right. At that moment, if you were on the fence about whether or not he was trolling or he was in full support, that should have been a sign, right? That should have been a signal to everybody holding Dogecoin, like he's serious. And he's gonna do everything in his power to make this happen, right? So that was a tipping point for me. The very next day, I was like, "That's it, I'm going all in." You know what I mean? Like I was on the fence up until that point, but after he did that, I was like, if anything, he's signaling to everybody that holds Dogecoin, like, "Yo, I'm dead ass serious about this, and I'm about to take it to the next level."
He's made his Bitcoin holdings public because his company owns $1 billion worth. He hasn't made his Doge holdings public. How much Doge do you think he owns? I know there's some wallets that hold a massive fucking amount of Doge, but how much do you think he has?
The crazy thing is, I had this crazy theory when I first went all in, where that was before we knew about exchanges, having the biggest wallets. So before we found out it was Robinhood. Well, we're 99% certain it's Robinhood having the biggest wallet. We were like, all right, I'm just thinking rationally, right? I'm like, all right, if I was a bajillionaire, right, and I'm trying to push this crypto, right, why would I not own a bunch of it? You know what I mean? Like, if I'm over here and I will put all this work in to make it happen and take it to the next level and make it grow, why wouldn't I have some skin in the game? You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, okay, Elon's probably one of the top 3 wallets. Now I don't think he's one of the top 3 wallets. I feel like he does hold a substantial amount of Doge, but probably nothing close to like what I had originally thought, because it's like he's got so many other ventures. He's
got a lot going on.
Tesla, SpaceX. Like Dogecoin is kind of like a side project for him that he's really invested in because he personally loves it, but it's not like it doesn't hold a huge percentage of his net worth. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like he might have some, but it's not nowhere near as much as people think.
I think in his mind, it's probably like a much bigger role than monetary. I think I think you're thinking about that the right way. Like another thing that I've always viewed, like I watched that interview to this day. I think it's one of the best interviews he's ever done. He was getting interviewed by a reporter. This was when he was tweeting about taking Tesla private at 420. And they said, Elon, your tweets are being censored. What do you think? And he's almost crying as he says this. And he says, I do not respect the SEC. And I've always kind of viewed him playing around with Doge as kind of like, he can't play with stocks anymore, but he's a billionaire. He's kind of a kid. Like he likes to just have fun, tweet some random shit. I think Doge is like the way he gets to just enjoy himself, like have some fun.
That's kind of like his escape, right? That's like his escape from like the real world. It's like, hey, let's do this crypto thing. You know what I mean? Like it's fun. I'm enjoying myself. You guys are like talk about memes here. I'm gonna post this meme. Like that's almost like his relief in a sense, right? So like he goes through so much stress with that, with all these corporations that are like trying to bring him down, and like publications, media outlets, like he's under the microscope 24/7. So this is like the one time where he can just kind of have fun. You know what I'm saying? And Dogecoin, in a sense, represents that. Dogecoin is the fun that Elon wants to have, and all the big boys don't want to let him have fun.
Elon got in trouble with Bitcoin holders. He was tweeting about the mining potentially being bad for the environment. He sold 10% of his Bitcoin holdings. Still holds a lot, but he sold 10%. Said he was testing liquidity. A lot of Bitcoiners now kind of think Elon's a bigger risk. I'm curious, as a pretty big Doge holder, a massive Doge supporter, do you think Elon could pose a big risk? Like, let's say Elon does flip the switch one day and he's like, yeah, I don't know. I should probably only talk about Bitcoin. I'm not saying he's going to do that. I think it's unlikely he does that. But he has shown that on a whim, he can change his mind and be like, yeah, I don't know if I should do this anymore. Do you think that poses a big risk?
The thing is this. I feel like Dogecoin was the main focus all along. So I feel like he's playing chess, right? He's not playing checkers. So he comes out, he puts Bitcoin, the logo, under his name, right? Everybody thinks he's gonna do some crazy thing with Bitcoin or buy a ton of Bitcoin, right? And then he plays that whole role, like, hey, Bitcoin is the move. I'm buying a lot of Bitcoin. That's what I'm doing. Knowing that the real move is Dogecoin, right? So then he takes Bitcoin out of his thing, right? He does the ban, and then he comes out with all the Doge tweets, right? So one of the tweets was, I'm low-key. So if you know about Loki and Thor and all that, and like the whole story behind that, it was, you know what I mean? That's exactly what he's doing. Like he's coming out pretending like this is what it is, but he's really got Dogecoin in the cut, and he's like, yo, this is what it's gonna be. But he's playing his cards right? Because the bigger Bitcoin gets, the bigger Dogecoin gets, right? So you don't really lose either way. Yeah. Except the upside is so much bigger with Dogecoin that he's gonna do that swap. So he came out in an interview. This was when Dogecoin was around 3 cents, right? I heard this interview on Clubhouse, right? He came out in an interview, and they asked him about Bitcoin, right?
I was in that Clubhouse.
He goes and tells a story. Okay, he goes and tells a story where his homeboy got him a Bitcoin cake, and he's trying to get him to buy into Bitcoin, right? Back in the day. I don't know if it was 2010, 2011, or whatever.
2013 or something, I think.
And he just, something like that, but he didn't get it. He's like, I don't get this. Like, this is virtual digital money. I don't get it, right? So he never bought into it, right? Well, at least not at that time. And so he's talking about this in the interview, and then he goes from that to, I was late on it, and I think he said, I don't want to be late again, or like next time I'm not going to be late on it, or something like that, right? And the only other crypto in my mind is like, all right, if you were too late to Bitcoin, then you got to be into Dogecoin. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, Dogecoin's a branch of Litecoin, which was a branch, of Bitcoin. Like they're all kind of in the same family as far as the coding of it. It just makes sense to me that Elon Musk is really all about Dogecoin and was playing the game with Bitcoin just to do the switcheroo at the end. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I don't think he's going to desert Dogecoin. Pardon me. I guess the only caveat there is I don't think his company will ever be able to buy Dogecoin, right? Like, they did end up buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin after he talked about it. The funny thing is, like, I talked to a lot of Bitcoiners, and they kind of view it's the exact same storyline, but flip Doge and Bitcoin. So I've talked to people, and they'll be like, he's only talking about Doge because the grand plan is Bitcoin. So it is kind of funny how both sides, you know what I'm saying?
You know the story he said, right? He came out and said that he missed the boat on like he admitted.
But he bought about a month after that, because he bought $1 billion worth for Tesla.
He did. I feel like that purchase was more for an entryway into the world of crypto from big business.
Yeah.
And I feel like him putting a foot in the door and saying, look, we're gonna buy $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, is signaling to all the other major companies and the major players in the game, like, this is a viable type of currency here. You know what I'm saying? And him doing that and putting the foot in the door and then offering Teslas for Bitcoin is taking a huge leap forward. You know what I mean? Saying, look, this is the future. We believe in it so much, we literally put it on our balance sheet, like 1.5 billion, in Bitcoin, and we're not selling it for dollars. We're not converting all the Bitcoin purchases and getting money and getting dollar bills out of it. We're keeping it in Bitcoin. He said the same thing about Dogecoin. Like, if you want, like, his Dogecoin that he holds, he hasn't converted any of it into dollars. He's gonna hold Dogecoin as well. You know what I mean? So that, I mean, it's the game plan.
Yeah. I'm curious, before we wrap this up, and I kind of want to talk about the future, what you're doing with Robinhood. I want to give you a chance to shout out Robinhood. They need to make a big improvement for Doge holders. But before we talk about that, I just want to ask, as we kind of think about, like, could that really happen for Tesla? It's been a big leap for companies to start buying Bitcoin, putting that in their treasuries. I think that continues. Now countries are making Bitcoin legal currency. I think that continues. What do you think the risks are? Like, I know you see the upside for Doge. I am curious, though, there's probably a ton of people in this with you or thinking about getting in. I'm curious, as a big holder, you're all in, you're not changing that. I don't want you to change that. But what do you think are the risks? Maybe Elon doesn't leave. I agree with you there. Does the infinite supply scare you? Is there anything that scares you about Doge?
That was the first thing I looked into. That was the number one detractor of Dogecoin, is the infinite supply. So what did I do? When I first looked into Dogecoin, I made a list. I wrote down every single negative thing I've heard about Dogecoin, and let me go and debunk this, right? So the first thing on the list was the unlimited supply, right? Mm-hmm. If you really look at it, it's not unlimited. There's a cap in how many Dogecoin can be mined per year. And once it reaches that cap, you can't mine anymore. So unlike the US dollar, which is by the way, not backed by gold, in case people out there didn't know that, the government can just print as many. That's truly unlimited. The government can print as many as they want every year. Nobody can blink an eye or even say anything about it. Dogecoin has a cap. Every single year you can't mine more than a certain amount, right? Dogecoin also is deflationary in actuality. So when they switched the coding up back in, I think, 2014 or 2015, not only did they put that mining cap on it per year, but they also made a percentage of it that goes down every year you mine it. So it started at 5%, I believe, right? In correlation to what's out there in the world, how much gets mined every year, right? So it's actually a good thing to have an unlimited supply, quote unquote, because you have Dogecoin that people forget passwords to, right? You have Dogecoin that gets stolen or gets wiped out. You know what I mean? If exchanges go down or whatever happens, right? There's so many things that contribute to dead coins and lost coins and things of that nature. We need new coins coming in all the time. So there's probably a lot less Dogecoin out there in the world than we believe it is, because there's people that lost their passwords. So the thing is this: it started at 5%, right? And now I believe in 2021, that percentage is at 3.9%. And it's going to continue to decline every single year, because in correlation to what's out there in the world and what's getting mined, that number is going to continue to go smaller and smaller and smaller. It's never going to actually hit zero, but it's going to get close to it in the next 10 or 20 years, right? So essentially, Dogecoin is actually deflationary. And in comparison to the US dollar, it's way better. You see what I'm saying? Yeah.
So the only note here is the inflation rate getting smaller. So it started at 5%, it's at 3% now. It'll get smaller each year. It'd be disinflationary. Deflationary would be the number.
Yeah, I mean,
You're good. So
that's what I meant to say.
The number out there of Doge is going to keep increasing, but it's increasing at a much slower rate each year. Like the dollars, exactly. I think the Fed targets 2% inflation. It's actually much higher. They printed like 30% more dollars than have ever existed. Bitcoin eventually actually will be deflationary once it stops making new coins at 21 million. Yeah. And Doge is kind of in the middle. Like in the future, there'll be less new Doge coming out than dollars, but still more Doge coming out than Bitcoin. So it's kind of right in the middle there, disinflationary. I guess that makes sense there.
If we look 10 years ago, right, or 20 years ago, whatever, right, a dollar would get you way more than it does today, right? If we look 10 years into the future, 20 years into the future, a dollar is going to be worth even less than it is today. But if you look at something like Dogecoin, it's going to be worth a lot more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, like, talking about this stuff, like real estate, we'll stick with crypto though, but even if you looked at real estate stocks, Bitcoin, Ethereum, DeFi, Dogecoin even, it's kind of all the same trade. And what I mean by that is It's just a
People are gonna
trade
kill you
of
for saying that.
no. I think actually a lot of people would agree. Even Bitcoiners would agree. The reason that all assets are going up and that people say we're in an all asset bubble, and it's the reason that stocks have gone up for 100 years, it's the money supply is increasing. I'm not saying that the thesis on Doge is the same trade as Bitcoin. I'm saying the reason asset prices go up and that we see a boom in everything, it's just the money supply is increasing. So it's the same trade in the sense of you understand what the Fed's doing. You understand that asset prices will go up because of it. That's the same trade to me. Obviously, different thesis of Bitcoiners before you hate on me. That makes sense. All right, I'm not going to convince you to sell. I don't really want to convince you to sell, but there's no way I would. I like that you walk through you have thought through the risks. It was a calculated move. You saved up 180K. I don't think you get enough credit for the moves that you made, the opportunity, you pulling the trigger, the execution. It's crazy, man. Like you deserve the win. It's a massive dub. I do want to give you a second though. You're in a weird spot because I think Robinhood still holds your coins. You just made a video on this. You're in this spot where like you can't even sell really if you wanted to. You'd have to move to cash. I want to give you a chance to shout out, what does Robinhood need to do?
I consider this one of the catalysts in the rise of Dogecoin once again. I feel like Robinhood opening up the wallets is going to make it so all the Dogecoin that's trapped in there, and if it is the biggest wallet holding Dogecoin, that's a third of all Dogecoin trapped in this platform, right? As soon as it opens up, what does that mean? That means I can use my Dogecoin to buy Mavericks jerseys. I can use my Dogecoin to just buy, anything out there that accepts Dogecoin. And I feel like that's going to be huge. It's going to put more Doge in transactions, more Doge in trading. And I feel like that's going to add to the value of Doge going up in price because right now, nobody can use it. It's just in there, right? So it's either you sell and buy in there. Nothing else can happen with Dogecoin. So that's really going to help bring the price up.
Do they have plans to open up? Have they announced that they're going to let people withdraw their Doge? Or are they still kind of saying, maybe we'll do it in the future?
They've announced they're working on wallets, but they want to do it in the safest way possible. Here's what I think, and this is just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like Robinhood isn't dumb, okay? They know, and the article just came out talking about Dogecoin has a huge anchor in their evaluation, and you know what I mean, in the company of Robinhood. They're not dumb. They know that as soon as they open up wallets, they know everybody's out of there. They know everybody's going, oh, give me my coins, give me my coins, give me my coins. They know that. So what incentive are they going to give us to keep our Dogecoin in Robinhood? Think about that. I feel like they're going to try to offer something like Gemini. They're going to try to offer some way of, if I keep my Dogecoin in Robinhood, they're going to give me interest. Whether it's monthly, whether it's per year, or whatever the case may be, they're going to have to offer me some type of incentive to continue holding my Dogecoin in Robinhood, because if not, there's no reason why I wouldn't just move it out and put it in my Coinbase wallet. You know what I mean? Like, not your keys, not your coins. And Robinhood knows that. So I feel like they're going to have to come up with something, and that's what they're working on right now. Not only opening up the wallets, but coming up with some type of incentive to keep the Dogecoin in the platform of Robinhood. And I don't know exactly what they're going to do, but it's going to have to be good. Whatever they come up with is going to have to be good, or else we're all out of there. And you know what I mean? They don't want that.
I think the positive thing too is they've seen lashback when they do the wrong thing with AMC and GameStop. If you and everyone on Reddit, all the Doge holders, eventually, like if you keep lobbying for something, they will have to do it. Like if you say, give me our coins or give us staking, they will do it.
Yeah. Exactly, and I feel like it's gotten to the point where they've gotten so much backlash already. They're in a position of trying to redeem themselves. You see what I'm saying? So like, I feel like that's also part of the play here. It's like, all right, we fucked up with GameStop and AMC and like, not letting you guys buy these meme stocks that you wanted to buy, and on top of that, you guys made us way richer by buying all this Dogecoin on Robinhood. So it's like, all right, let's make the people happy. Let's try to figure out a way where we can both win here and make it so they offer some type of staking in Robinhood, where instead of me moving to Gemini or instead of me moving somewhere else, that's I don't think Gemini offers staking for Dogecoin, but somewhere else that kind of starts providing that. What would make me want to move it around or keep it in Robinhood? They're gonna have to come up with something.
Yeah. Doge or Pro, last question before I ask you where people can follow you, where people can keep up, the Netflix document, all this stuff that I want people to be aware of, your merch. But I got one more question. You said if we go to $2 and you have a $10 million portfolio, you'll take out $1 million, then you'll let the rest ride. after a year or after Robinhood gives you your coins, do you have any ideas? What do you you're obviously still on Reddit. I know you're focused on Doge a lot, but you're a smart guy. You're surrounding yourself with smart guys, Andre Graham and those guys. They're always talking about investments. You said you're building some businesses. Is there a next investment you're looking at? Like when you do pull some profit, let's say, best case scenario, Doge at $1, $2, $5 next year, you pull this out. Are you going to move some into Bitcoin? You're not a Bitcoin hater. It's kind of funny. I think people label you as that. You get Bitcoin. Are you going to move some into Bitcoin? You're going to move some into DeFi, which I think is incredibly exciting. Are you going to move some into real estate? Like, what's the next play for you, man? Like, what are you looking at?
I feel like Dogecoin is the play to get me to that level, right? So like the level of Graham Stephan, Andre, Andre Jig, me, Kevin. I was the little guy down here making $60K a year, right? So now I'm kind of in conversation. I'm in the room with these guys. I'm rubbing elbows. You know what I mean? Like I'm in a situation where I would have never been without making this play, right? And there's also a lot of people that look up to me right now, and they're like, "Oh, I wonder what he's gonna do. Like, should I do this?" Like asking me for advice. Like I'm in a position of responsibility now, in a sense, right? So I have to also have integrity. I gotta also stick by my word and stick by what I say. So coming into this, the plan was always, let me hold this for a year or until I hit 10 million, right? That was having the understanding that I was going to keep a full-time job. So now that I no longer have a full-time job,
congrats, by the way.
Worst case scenario. Thank you. Worst case scenario, I'm in desperate need of money at some point, right? Whether it's next month or the month after, whatever happens, right? Will I announce that I'll sell a little bit? Yes. I mean, and the thing is this, if I do sell, I'm going to tell everybody. I'm not going to just do it and not tell anybody. And then all of a sudden, because everything is registered. I put screenshots of everything. People are going to be like, wait, you had 4 million Dogecoin. Now you have 3.9995. You know what I mean? Like, you can't run away from that. So my whole thing is, if I absolutely need it, which I don't think I will, because my YouTube channel is doing really well, my merchandise is doing well, everything I've got, I might go through a little rough patch right now in the transitional period of me having a job to full-time working for myself. Sure. But in case anything happens in the future, you know what I mean? I'm going to let everybody know. People are going to be well aware, you know what I mean, before I make a play or anything like that. But I feel like in the future, next year, whenever I do sell some Dogecoin, of course I'm going to buy into Bitcoin. Of course I'm going to buy some Ethereum. I'm going to buy Cardano. I'll probably have those three. I'm going to probably have Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano, probably heavier on Cardano, a little, medium on Ethereum, and the least amount of heavy on Bitcoin because of the upsides here, right? So I feel like Cardano has the biggest upside. Ethereum has the second biggest, and then Bitcoin has, the least amount of upside when it comes to that. So I'm gonna have those three. I'm also gonna try to invest in some real estate. You know what I mean? Like I have these businesses I want to put together. I got this record label I want to put together. I have artists that are ready to go. I got music that's ready to go for them that I gotta just package out and release it. I always tell everybody I got 3 major things that I want to do. So the first thing is the rap label that I'm putting together. I got 3 artists in a rap label. The second thing I want to do is a rap media channel on YouTube where I have a podcast talking about rap, hip hop shit. I have
Adam 22, homies, Adam 22 type show.
Something like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Something like that. You know what I mean? So that's my second goal. And then the third one is the Dogecoin Millionaire branding, right? It's the brand name. It's the persona. It's the character. It's like, all right, I could sell merchandise with this, which is what I've been doing. I got the website. I want to do more videos on YouTube. I want to be able to just carry this on because there's always going to be Dogecoin holders and there's always going to be a place for that in my life. And I feel like I'm just going to continue to run with it all the way.
I love it, dude. I have massive, massive respect for the vision, the way you've done it, and you got a plan. The only thing I'll say, and I'm not here to give you advice. I shouldn't be a financial advisor. I've been trading coins for a couple of years. I do this for a living. I understand, though, that everyone has their own thesis, and I'm not right, you're not right, I'm not wrong, you're not wrong. I would at least say, though, when you look at Bitcoin, you look at ETH, you look at Cardano, to take a peek at what's happening in DeFi. That's all I'm saying. There's a lot of upside there. I think it's exciting. I think your mind is going to look at some of those things. You're going to see the trends. I would just take a peek at DeFi next year when you have that, when you have some capital. But Pro, I appreciate it, man.
Okay. So real quick. So just let me know if you were in my position and took a look at DeFi, what would be the first thing you'd invest in?
I mean, you could keep it super simple. You could look at the blue chips, what people call them. It's kind of funny. We call them blue chips because they're not blue chips at all. People call them blue chips because you have blue chip stocks, right? Like the biggest stocks that are going to be around, the blue chips, the names everyone knows. But you got blue chip DeFi. You have the YFIs of the world, basically the building blocks of decentralized finance. So everything that a bank does.
Okay.
Bitcoin questioned,
So what are the blue chip DeFis?
You got Yearn, you got Comp, you got Bouncer, Uniswap, SushiSwap, right? All the biggest, the first decentralized exchange, the first Aave, the first decentralized lending protocol. If Bitcoin questioned, should a central bank run your money? Like that was what Bitcoin questioned and created. I think DeFi kind of questions, should you have to go to the bank to get a loan? Should you have to go to this exchange to trade, right? It's decentralizing all the functions of finance. Bitcoin is the money. Like nothing's challenging Bitcoin in that regard. But DeFi is kind of challenging all the other things. Like Bitcoin's great at what it does, but it's not adding a DEX tomorrow, right? These things are, and they're also earning revenues. So when you talk, you hang out with Graham and Andre and all these guys, they run those numbers all the time. What can this property make me? And they can value it based on that. DeFi, to me, is exciting, and I know to a lot of other people, it's the first time ever in crypto with a lot of these coins that you can look at it and say, okay, Uniswap made tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars this year. Holy shit, like that's sustainable. And if it's making that much money on fees as a protocol, token holders might be able to earn a percentage of those fees, right? So like those kind of things are exciting where it becomes less of like, can this be big because other people believe it, to like, wow, this thing makes money and I can maybe get a percentage of that money. So I would at least peep that. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I think I think your mind's going to run with that.
No, for sure. I also feel like people when listening to me and taking into account my story, they should really look at how I got to the point to be able to invest as much as I did into Doge.
100%.
Right? Like I'm an average, regular, everyday guy. How the hell did I save up 180K?
Dude.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how did I do it? The people really need to look into that. And if anything, I'll probably start making videos. I'll probably start making videos about living a frugal life and what I spend money on and how I save money. You know what I mean? Having a regular job like everybody else.
You should. That I'm not kidding. That was the thing that drew me to hitting you up that day, DMing you and saying, yo, do you want to come on? It wasn't that you made $1 million. It wasn't that we can talk about price targets. The thing that got me, it was one of Andre's videos. I don't watch a lot of them, but I saw this one. It popped up in my feed. I like Andre. I just don't watch his videos. But it pops up in my feed, and 5 minutes in, they're saying, man, you YOLO'd in. That's crazy. That's reckless. And you said, hold up. You said, I saved 180K. I was investing in stocks. I've been doing this. And I thought to myself, I was like, how many of my friends have saved up 180K to invest? Not a lot of them, right? Like, you got to be smart. You got to be planning ahead to have that. And I don't think you get enough credit for it. So massive respect for that, dude. As I said, huge dub. Bro, what do you want to show, man? You got the merch going on. I know you have a million things down the road, but like today, what should people do? You have a YouTube that's booming. You got merch that's booming. Where can people keep up with you?
Yes. So today you can go to www.thedogecoinmillionaire.com. I got merchandise up there. A lot of people know me for my beat up 2004 Toyota Corolla. I still drive to this day. You can buy a shirt with a car on it. It's a cartoon version of it. It's hilarious. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of other stuff on there too. I got the rocket ship hats that you can get. You can check me out on YouTube. You know, the Dogecoin Millionaire. YouTube.com/the Dogecoin Millionaire. Watch all my videos over there. Instagram. Yeah, Instagram, Pro the Doge on Instagram. Twitter, Pro the Doge. I'm on Snapchat. I got a TikTok, the Dogecoin Millionaire on TikTok. And I also got a Dogecoin Millionaire on Instagram too. So I'm all over the place, man. You guys, and I post everywhere. I don't just pick one platform. Like I'm all over Twitter posting, tweets every day. I'm all over Instagram posting stories, what I'm doing, what's going on. Did I just buy some more Dogecoins? Like today, this morning I bought the dip. And I made a post about it. You would have seen. I bought $12,000 worth of Dogecoin today. So people really need to, see all the little tidbits that's going on and really see what I'm doing, see what's going on.
For everyone listening, the links are right down below on iTunes and Spotify. If you're watching here on YouTube, thanks for tuning into the show. His links are down below. Click it. Keep up with everything happening in Doge. Everything this man is working on. Pro, I appreciate you coming on, man. Chart looks scary to me, but you got conviction. I'm rooting for you, bro. I'm Team Pro. I'm with it. I want to see you run it up, and next year we can come back on. I hope you come back on next year. We talk about your next play. Have a good rest of the week, brother. Look out for this man's Netflix documentary too. That's coming soon. Pro, appreciate you, bud.
Yeah, coming soon. You guys check me out.
Peace, man.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.